Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And yesterday I was showing you a video of how to do these lovely sentiments from the Feathers and Frost to get two different tones on them. And I said I would come back today to show you how to complete the card. So let's get started with this. We're going to use the Feathers and Frost, which is absolutely lovely, and the sentiment was the gift of your friendship means so much, especially at Christmas, which I think is lovely to give to any friend. And we're now going to use the little robins because they are absolutely beautiful, and I want the robin to be facing, let's see if I'm going to have the right one. I want the robin, no, I want the robin to be facing that way when I stamp it. So we're taking, this is the top robin, so we're taking that one because obviously when you put it on a block, I know it's probably an obvious thing, but when you stamp it, it comes out the opposite direction. So we're just going to take a little scrap of cardstock, and we're just going to ink it up in a good black ink, and we're going to just put him on the bottom like this. Now when I've got a little scrap like this, I always turn round and do a few, because when I come to do another project I will then have my little robins all ready to go. So I'm going to do two, one on this side and one on that side, like that. Okay, so I will clean that one up later, so I'll just put that on there. And then we are going to colour in the little robin. Now, I am going to use, what am I going to use today? I think I'm going to use some of our Stampin' Right markers, and I'm going to use some blends as well. The nice thing about all of our colouring mediums is that you can mix and match. You don't have to just go for one medium or another. So I want the outside of the robin to be in, let me open my box, in the dark crumb cake, because that's quite robin-y looking. And then let me just put my box back up on the shelf, and then the robin is going to be in robin's orange, so we're going to have the Calypso Coral, and I think I'm going to use this one, which is it's actually a retired one, but I think it'll work quite nicely. So any sort of two tones, you can do it really red, you can do it really orange, it's entirely up to you. So I'm just going to take this on the wider tip and literally just colour in the top of the robin, coming down onto his chest, turn him around and do the other, because I'll do two at the same time, because as I say, it's always a good idea to do, particularly when you're doing little toppers and things like that, to do a couple at a time, because then you've always got a spare one ready to go on your next project. So that's on the top bit, and then we're going to use this colour just down on the bottom. As I say, tone in any two that you want. I just thought that this would look quite nice for the robin. And flip him round, do the other side very quickly. I love robins. I think robins are really beautiful on Christmas cards. They're very special little birds, and you always see them at Christmas time. In fact, you always see them, well, I'm lucky to see them almost all the time in my garden, because I have a bird bath and a bird table, and so I get quite a few different birds coming in. And they are lovely. I love garden birds. And I'm not sure whether there are, this little robin, I'm not sure whether he is completely international. My international friends will be able to tell me. I think their robins are slightly bigger, and aren't these tiny little birds that we have in our British gardens. Certainly when I lived just outside of Boston for a few years in my younger years, the robins there were more like our thrushes, that sort of size, and they had the same sort of similar markings, but they weren't like the tiny little birds that we have that are robins. And I know when I'm gardening, one of our little robins will come and actually sit on the end of the fork when I'm gardening. So I think they're absolutely beautiful. So as you can see, it only takes a few minutes to colour them in however you want. Now I am going to use our 1-inch circle punch, and I am just going to line up the little robin inside, and we are going to be able to take his, was it the 1 inch or was it a little bit bigger? Hold on a minute, let me just have a look and see. I've already done one out. I think it was, no, it's bigger than a 1 inch, wasn't it? Let me have a look and see. It is, what size is this one? Is that one bigger? Because I've just cut one out earlier on and I can't remember what size punch I used, so I'm just going to have a little look at that. I think it's probably that one. That will work. So this is the 1 1/4 inches. 1/4 inch I think will make all the difference. So here we go. Right, so we need to line up the little robin so that his little beak is outside and his little feet can be just in, and just punch that through. So that's one. Flip him around the other side, and that's why I said about being able to get 2 out of 1 sheet, or 1 little scrap, and do 2 at a time. So we're just going to punch the other one out. Okay, so we've now got our 2 little robins, and then if you take the smallest of the stitch shaped framelets, I will get it out so you can actually see, which is this little one. It is just a tad, and I don't know how much, but it's just a tad larger, so it gives a nice little border. And we are going to take 1 in the green to go with the greens, and we're going to take 1 in the red. Now I've already, here we go, I've already die cut that out, so we don't have to worry about that. And we're just going to literally stick the little robin in over the top. So that's a 1 1/4 inch punch with the smallest size stitch shaped framelit. And that works absolutely perfectly. So let's just put a little bit of wet glue on here, and it's quite easy to line up because you just put it exactly where the stitches are. So the stitches aren't going to be showing on this, but it gives you a way of being able to accurately line it up and get it nice and straight. So we have 1 of those in the Tranquil Tide background and 1 in the Cherry Cobbler. I'll put that one aside for now. And so we've now got our 2 tags with the little robins, and we are going to take some of the beautiful designer series paper which is about at the moment. So this one is from the Frosted Florals, and this is going to be on a background or a card base of Tranquil Tide. Now to do my card bases, all I do is I cut an A4 sheet like that in half and score it in half. I know that the continental sizes are a little bit different, or the international sizes. So basically do your card and your mat as you would normally do it. And then we are going to put 1 of these on top. So the Cherry Cobbler on top of this one. I'm going to go do 2 at the same time for you. And this one is going to go on the top of there like that. We're going to have the little robin at the bottom. And we are going to take the second punch of the day, which is the Sprig Punch. And we are going to punch out 2, which again I've done to save some time. 2 in the Tranquil Tide. And they're going to go underneath like this. Here's a bit of an angle like that. And 2 in the Cherry Cobbler, and they are going to go in, one in under that way, way sliding about, one under that way and one under that way. And you can turn one over so you've got one facing in one direction and one facing the other if you want, which I think looks quite nice. And then put the little robin back in on there. And then we're going to finish it off with two of our beautiful ribbons that are about at the moment. One is the Tranquil Tide velvet ribbon, and I think there's nothing nicer than velvet ribbon, so we're going to put that across on the bottom here, and then have the little robin tucked in on top with some dimensionals. And we're going to put this one, which is Merry Merlot and copper. And as I said, I'm still waiting for my order to come through with Merry Merlot, but it does tone in quite nicely because of the copper with the cherry cobbler. So if you still are using cherry cobbler, then it's not a problem at all to match it up. Okay, so that's how that's going to look. And we are going to put, let me put this on first. So we are going to put our card base on. Let's take one out at a time so we can do it properly. The first thing I'm going to do, because I always forget to do this, is we're going to put our ribbon across on the bottom. So line up where you want the ribbon to go, and then just what I tend to do with this one is quite good with our snail. So this, you can just put a bit of snail on either end like that. Turn it over and bob a bit of snail on the bottom of here, and then, oh, don't just stick it on that one. Then when you line it up, you can use our grid paper to make it straight, and then you're just going to put it in where you want it on the bottom, and you can just then take, it's me lining it up, take your snail across on one side. Line it up again. I hope I'm in shot on this one actually. Line it up again on there. I have to pick it up because I can't do things completely straight, and just literally just bob it round on the back of there. Okay, so that's our ribbon, and then we are going to put this up on dimensionals. I'm not going to do this part because it'll take too long, but I just wanted to do this for you so you can see. So this we're going to put up with dimensionals. And I'm going to actually do this with some minis. So let's just put some minis on here. And while I'm at it, I'm going to put the minis on the back of this one, so we can work with two at the same time. You can see how if you're batch making, which at Christmas time we tend to do more than one of each card, particularly if you've got a list of family and friends that I do, that I have to send out Christmas cards to, and customers and thank yous and just general Christmas, it's a good idea to do things in batches. So whether you're doing 2s, 4s, 6s, 10s, 20s, once you get yourself into a little routine, it's actually not too bad to do it. So let's go and put this on. I'm just going to take that off on here. I want this fairly near, exactly the same sort of distance between the sides and the top on this. So that can just go down on here. And then these, I'm just going to put just a little bit of Tombow underneath them. And just on the bottom too, because I want a little bit of the sprig to actually not be attached, so just sort of be free flowing at the bottom. And I'm going to put this one on just with a little bit of Tombow on here, and just put that one in underneath like that. Just sort of line that up at a little more of an angle and just press it down. Okay, and then we've got our little robin on here, which is going to have a dimensional on, because it's going to fit over the ribbon. We want to put a dimensional just at the top and just at the bottom. So let me just make sure that I've got my robin where I want him, which is at the top. So I'm going to put this one is going to be on the top like that. Whoops, get it the right way around. Pop that one on there, pop this one on the bottom like that. And then when we put it on, it's going to go over the ribbon. Because if it sticks onto the ribbon, it's going to add too much bulk. So I want it to lie flat, but over the top of the ribbon. So let's just put him on here in the center like that. Okay, so here you've got a fairly simple card. I'm not going to stick the other one together, I'm just going to position it for you. But you've got this one in the lovely Tranquil Tide with the frosted florals paper. And then we'll have, let's just move this out of the way so it's not all in our shot. And then we'll have this one, which is going to be the Cherry Cobbler with the lovely Joyous Noel Speciality Designer Series paper. Again, we'll put those in underneath. We'll have our little bit of ribbon along the bottom, which we'll tuck in underneath. And then we'll have our little robin on top. So you can see it makes a beautiful, let me just hold this one up so you can see it a bit closer. It makes a beautiful card for Christmas. Fairly simple, just with some punches and some ribbon and some of our beautiful paper, you can actually make a lovely card. So thank you so much for watching me, and I do look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.